Ed Werder with more.
One day after announcing Jason Garrett would not return as Cowboys head coach, the Cowboys hired former Packers coach Mike McCarthy, a veteran coach who contributed to Garrett's demise, twice ending Dallas' season in the playoffs, arguably with less talented teams. McCarthy's expected to call the plays in Dallas and introduce a new offense based on West Coast principles. That will be the offseason challenge for unsigned quarterback Dak Prescott. Speaking to offensive assistant coaches here, I'm told the Cowboys incorporated some of those concepts in their playbook last year, but the verbiage will be massively different and require a big adjustment for Prescott. But the coaches here describe Prescott as being open-minded and someone who is, quote, a great learner. I also reached out to Packers Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre about his impression of McCarthy's partnership with the Cowboys and Prescott. He described McCarthy as a perfect fit for Prescott and the entire team. Favre said that McCarthy is brash and tough and has tremendous confidence and believability.
So let's go by the numbers on the Cowboys' new coach, Mike McCarthy, the third head coach hired by Jerry Jones with previous NFL experience, joining Bill Parcells and Wade Phillips. McCarthy's 125 wins are the fifth most by a head coach since 2006. In fact, he ranks in the top 5 despite not coaching a game since week 13 of the 2018 season. And your final number is 58. 58 of McCarthy's wins have come in one-possession games, the fourth most by a head coach since 2006. The Cowboys were 1-6 in one-possession games, the second, which was second worst in the NFL. It's not real news until we get our favorite Cowboys take. That would be football analyst Marcus Spears, who spent nearly a decade in Dallas. So I'll ask you this. What is Mike McCarthy going to be able to provide that Jason Garrett could not?
First of all, El, good morning. Y'all having a lot of fun in that studio. I think what he provides is the believability that you can win those games that you've been losing over the years, i.e. the situation this year with the Philadelphia Eagles and having to go win a game to win a division. Mike McCarthy gives you pause to say, if I have this guy getting my team ready and prepared for a week like that, we can win games. And ultimately, that played into Jason Garrett's demise of winning those particular games. Sometimes it's about the ones you win and how important they are. I think that's number one. Number two is he's been with a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's been in the organization that is revered in the Green Bay Packers, and he's understood how to run an organization being under a microscope with the expectation of winning and putting things together. And people say, well, he's been in the playoffs 9 out of the 13 seasons. He's only won one Super Bowl. There's a lot of outlying factors when he was in Green Bay. We always talked about the roster. Would they do enough in free agency to get enough around Aaron Rodgers to have the ability to go win a Super Bowl and compete on that level? And he did a lot with that. Now, this is one of those hires where I'm sure, and I live in Dallas and I'm close to it, where everybody would have liked a flashy name, a hot hire. This may end up working well. My number one question for any coach that would have been hired, Al, was, will you have the ability to have a meeting with Jerry Jones and say, let me do it my way and see if this works and really stand on the table and be able to get that accomplished? And if Mike McCarthy can, Dallas can have success with him as a head coach.
I love that you brought up the potential of other coaches, because I guess what befuddles the mind to me, Marcus, is how this all came together. They dragged their feet to even fire Jason Garrett. They interview Marvin Lewis so they could satisfy the Rooney Rule. And then they don't even let Mike McCarthy leave the building. I mean, what do you think the timing of the decision tells you about the desirability of that Dallas job, at least in Jerry Jones' eyes?
El, I asked that same question this morning in our meeting for Get Up, and one thing is maybe some of these potential hires that we talked about were meetings that were happening throughout the year. That's the only thing that we could come up with, not myself, but talking to Dan Orlovsky and Greeny and everybody and all of the guys, Bart Scott as well. Here's my deal. You interview two guys for a job where you know the expectation is to get to a Super Bowl. Make no mistake about it. The Dallas Cowboys did not move on from Jason Garrett to have better seasons than Jason Garrett had. They moved on because this is the window they feel like they can win a Super Bowl in.
You were there when they had their last full-scale coaching hunt in 2007. It was thorough. They interviewed 10 coaches before they settled on Wade Phillips. It didn't work out for Wade. Maybe they feel like the hastiness will help them in this case. Marcus Spears joining us here to break down his former team's decision to hire Mike McCarthy as their head coach.